It's early March 2025. I'm camping at Whalen Island on the Oregon coast. The island is surrounded by waters of the Sand Lake Estuary. The Sand Lake Estuary is a beautiful place and provides important habitat for birds and other wildlife. In some places, the estuary is a broad expanse of water. In other places, the estuary is a narrow channel, in this case with a nice rainbow in the background. The Whalen Island Campground provides a nice starting place to walk along the estuary shoreline. Much of the island is covered by a forest. A 1.4-mile trail allows you to travel through the forested part of the island. Whalen Island is located about 16 miles south of Tillamook, Oregon. To get to the island, I traveled south from Tillamook on U.S. Highway 101 and then turned onto Sand Lake Road. I'm now almost to the turnoff for the road to Whalen Island. Here I'm turning onto the access road that will cross a bridge to the island. Looking south from the bridge, there's a nice view of the waters of the Sand Lake Estuary. The north side of the bridge provides a good view of the water in that direction. If you look carefully in the left center of the screen, you can probably see a large white bird, an egret. The access road continues to the west and then divides. On the right side, the road goes to the Clay Myers State Natural Area, which takes up much of Whalen Island. The left fork of the road goes to the Whalen Island Tillamook County Campground. I headed left to the campground. It's a rather small campground with about 30 campsites, no hookups. During my stay at the campground, only the host site and one other campsite was occupied. The occupied campsite, Site 6, is at the west end of the campground directly ahead. It's one of the few more private sites. I stayed in Site 12. It's immediately ahead on the right. Many of the other campground sites are located in the grassy meadow ahead. They have a good view of the water, but essentially no privacy. From this view, you can see that my campsite is very close to the water. I could see the estuary through the trees, and it was just a very short walk to the shore. Once I was in my campsite, it was time to head out walking to see the shoreline near me. I'm walking west towards the ocean. The Pacific is just beyond that low hill ahead on the other side of the estuary. The estuary is home to many bird species. I didn't get a lot of images of birds, they were often too far away. Here are a few birds that got relatively close. Of course, at the coast, you're very likely to find seagulls. Much less common are these bufflehead ducks. I also saw a number of great blue herons. Up to this point, I've been walking west along the south shore of Whalen Island. I've now reached the southwest corner of the island and begun to walk north on the west side of the island. An aerial view looking to the west. In the distance you can see waves on the Pacific Ocean rolling into the beach. I think you can also see where the estuary appears to turn towards the Pacific and meets the ocean. As I mentioned earlier, much of Whalen Island is part of the Clay Myers Oregon State Natural Area. There's a 1.4-mile loop trail that allows exploring a large portion of the island. I started walking the trail on the east side of the island, going in a counterclockwise direction. This part of the trail rapidly enters a coastal forest with a very dense understory of shrubs. If there was no trail, it would be very difficult to walk through this part of the island. As I walked the loop trail and got to the west side of the island, the trees became much smaller and the forest was more open without the dense understory. In this part of the trail, there were a number of short side trails like this one that provided a view of the Sand Lake Estuary and the ocean. Towards the end of the loop, the trail splits. One fork returns to the Clay Myers parking lot, and the other fork goes to the county campground. I chose to go to the campground and return to my campsite. Sunset at the Whalen Island County Campground. I hope you enjoyed this video visit to the Whalen Island Campground, the Sand Lake Estuary, and the Clay Myers Oregon State Natural Area. If you did, please consider subscribing. Thanks for watching.